Hello, everyone. Thanks for listening to Wake Up, Look Up, a podcast where we connect events happening in real time to the gospel of Jesus Christ. I'm Zach Weihrauch, and in today's episode, we're asking the question, have we canceled leadership? This is prompted by an opinion piece that was in the New York Times this week by Darren Walker, who's the retiring chairman of the Ford Foundation. He's also sat on a variety of for-profit and not-for-profit boards. He's reflecting on a life of leadership and making the point that as a culture, we might have killed the whole concept of leadership. He makes this argument in a variety of ways, but it starts with this basic idea. The more people he talks to in the corporate world, the fewer people he finds who actually want to step in to leadership. And the reticence to be a leader is kind of steeped in a couple of things. One is it's becoming increasingly unpopular in our culture to have a strong opinion. Voicing a strong opinion on really anything leads to a pretty negative backlash. We're teaching people that the best thing they can do is to keep their head down. But of course, leadership doesn't usually afford that opportunity. We're also a culture increasingly that vilifies people who take risks. We're waiting for someone to fail, to pounce on them, to point our finger at them, and to say that we knew they would mess it up all along. Well, that creates a climate in which, again, people don't want to step into leadership. Leadership is risk. And what's the point of risking if people are just waiting for and even rooting for you to fail? And then finally, we're a culture where we process everything through the lens of what's best for us. And Mr. Walker makes the point that leadership is often about what's best for everyone else. It means being willing to put yourself on the line, even if you do take some shots. And for that reason, in a selfish, kind of me-centered culture, fewer and fewer people are wanting to be leaders. I guess the reason this is relevant is because I have found a phenomena in the people that I talk to where no one really wants to be a leader, and yet we're all bemoaning the fact that we don't have any leaders. I mean, a quick survey of the political or cultural landscape makes us feel pretty leaderless. And I feel this in the church as well. Increasingly, I'm finding fewer and fewer people want to step up to be deacons, to be elders, to be volunteer ministry leaders, or even to be pastors. We're about 10 years away from a real crisis of leadership. So the question is, if we are in a culture where we don't value leaders, where it isn't profitable to be a leader, how do we let the Bible speak into this? Well, the first is this, that our ultimate leader in the church is Jesus. The Apostle Paul gives a great definition of leadership when he says it this way: imitate me as I also imitate Jesus. Leadership in the church isn't fundamentally about me and my ideas and my gifts and my passions. It's about looking to Jesus in a public way so that people can see Jesus in what I am doing and saying as a leader. In other words, to be a leader is first and fundamentally to be a great follower. Second, though, the Bible is full of leaders that God uses, men and women that God uses to advance his kingdom. It's also full of stories of how they fail. We have to have a better theology of leadership. God has a category for calling leaders who sometimes fail. God has a category for picking those leaders up, forgiving them, dusting them off, and getting them back in the game. When did we get this idea that to be an effective leader, you had to have a hit rate of 100%? Outside of Jesus in the Bible, no one has that. And if God doesn't require that, then why do we? And third, we have to develop a theology of gifting and passion. God has wired some of us to lead because of the talents and the gifts and personalities he has given us. We don't want to be like the guy in the parable of the talents who takes what God has given us and buries it, and then at the end of his life gives it back. What God has given us, he wants us to invest. He wants us to give the kingdom, to see it bear dividends. But then fourth, Those of us that aren't leaders need to develop a better theology of honoring leaders. Of course, we know in this day and age, blind allegiance and blind loyalty are stupid. And yet the book of Hebrews tells us in chapter 10 that we should honor our leaders, that we should be thankful for men who give their lives to shepherding our souls, knowing that one day they'll give an account to God. In the church, we must regain an appreciation for leaders and a passion and courage to become leaders. And that means some of you, listen, if you've been holding off stepping up and stepping into leadership, today is the day for the glory of God, the good of the church, and for your own stewardship. Be a leader. Hey, thanks so much for watching this video. While you're here, we'd love to ask you to hit subscribe or to like so you get future content. If you listen to the audio version too, make sure you leave a review and a comment. That really helps. Consider sharing it on social media and helping us get the word out. And hey, while you're here, check out all the other content that Christ Community Chapel is putting out, including the videos that are around me right now.